So I'm at Destination Outdoor in North Carolina, Bryson City, and we've got next to me the 2024 TRD Off Road Tacoma. I'm gonna give you my first impressions. A lot of it's good, but there's a lot of bad too. Stick around. All right, so next to me is the TRD Off Road 2024 Tacoma, and we've got this aggressive orange color here, really like that. I'm gonna go right into my first impressions of just now being next to it, and also being a big fan of third gen Tacomas. I'm gonna do a little comparison to what I know about those. Obviously, with this year, you've got one hell of an aggressive powertrain. I think it's 426 pounds of torque, well over 300 horsepower. And so this thing is gonna boogie on such a small, light pickup body. And so from a power standpoint, there's a lot to look forward to here. That's the hybrid model, those numbers. If you're in the market for one of these TRDs, and even some of the upper trims, you're gonna have access to that hybrid, and I don't think you're gonna be let down at all. A lot of Tacoma owners do a whole lot of hauling, towing, small business type stuff. This thing's gonna have a more aggressive towing capacity as well. But looking at the styling, I wanna go right into like some of the stuff that I've noticed. And I really like this small kind of black grille here. I really like this aggressive lines all through the front, but I do have to bash something. I don't know what's going on here with this valence down here. I have no idea why they would put this on the TRD off-road model, because the off-road needs more clearance. It doesn't need, I don't know, an air spoiler or whatever that might be. And so I get it on a pre-runner, or I get it on, you know, maybe a TRD Sport, but seeing it on a TRD off-road, it's a little goofy for me. So that's one thing that like I would totally rip off, and I think every TRD off-road owner or TRD Pro owner is gonna tear right off, right when they first buy this vehicle. So it's just a little goofy. Really like how these fenders are looking. So if I step over here, you can kind of see there's a slit right through here, allows air in there. But the fender is very aggressive, so as you expand your tire size, which is the next thing most people are going to do, you're probably still going to be within the wheel wells possibly, but even if you're not, it doesn't stick out that much further, and this is a really nice aggressive fender flare. I really like what I'm seeing on the headlights. They seem to have gone a little bit smaller from like a third gen Tacoma, so I do like the headlights. They didn't lose too much aggression by going smaller, but just all the hard lines on this thing, it's honestly pretty impressive. What I would say though is it that much better than a third gen Tacoma? I don't know, because the third gen Tacoma is extremely clean. It looks great, but from a powertrain standpoint, that's probably going to be the biggest compelling reason to get one of these, is if you're somebody who just wants more power and that torque at the wheels, the hybrid engine is just going to give you that. You're going to get that low end torque from that electric motor, and this thing's going to zip, especially being so light. So I think that's the biggest reason. If I was a third gen Tacoma owner, I used to be in the past, I own a Tundra now, that'd be the biggest reason I'd get one of these, just because this power is extremely attractive. I don't think there's anything else in the class that's kind of touching these numbers. As I come around here, you're going to have your 360 cameras with this. You're going to have a decent set of tires. I think these are, what, 265 on 18s. I'm not crazy about the wheel. I've seen Toyota come out with better wheels than this. That's just my opinion though. It is not a bad wheel though, but I do like, you know, kind of a more sunken in wheel. That's more my style. But as I cruise along here, I'm looking at this cab here, and I go inside of this and I feel like it is smaller. I've moved the seats around. I just remember sitting in the back of my third gen and actually being impressed with the amount of space I had. And in this one, it just doesn't feel like it's gonna have the same amount of space. And I don't know what that is, if it's just like the new interior, which is really nice looking, but maybe they cut some of the space somewhere, or if it's just a lack of cab space here that maybe the third gen had. And so that might be a bummer for some people. Now, how many people are really packing their Tacoma with passengers in the rear? Maybe you have a kid, you want to have a nice seat back there, you could put a car seat or something. It still does that well, but are you really transporting people everywhere in this thing? Probably not. It's really for your gear. That's how it was for me. So it's not really a deal breaker, but just viewer beware. I think the rear seems to have less leg space. But coming back here, I'm looking at the height on this thing, and it is aggressive. You have a lot of clearance. You could definitely fit some bigger tires back there. You have some serious hard lines everywhere. And if you were to look at a parallel view of this, kind of just going down flush, again, these fenders pop out. And so from an aggressive standpoint, it gives kind of, dare I say, Raptor vibes in a sense of just like aggressive width, even though the total width is probably within what a third gen Tacoma already was. So you actually probably fit in trails better than you did before, but still have tremendous aggression all throughout this. And so I like this a lot. I love this line here. I kind of like the stamped look on some of the vehicles before this. I'm not crazy about like just the stickers, but it really just depends. There's nothing wrong with that. That's again another preference thing. It looks like there's like a spoiler kind of on the back of the cab there, but it doesn't look like a separate piece necessarily. I believe it is, but it's color matched. It just flows really nicely. You've got on this model like what looks like a bed camera sticking from the back there, so you can see what's in the bed of your truck here. And then you still have your rear camera down here, and you still have your push button on the side here. Let's see if that opens up. Mess that up. There it is. Boom. And I think it actually is dampened on the way up, so it doesn't let you. So you can kind of push that up. That's new. I haven't seen that on third gens yet. And now it locked itself back into place. Kind of a cool feature, and you still have the Tacoma kind of stamp back here, and that is what I do like. I actually like that look a lot. You can put inserts in there, so it gives you some customizability. If you're somebody who wants to lift the back, I believe these are high lift jack points. So again, another new thing for this vehicle that never existed before. You have your tow hitch that comes standard on these, I believe, and tow points, which you would think a Tacoma would come with tow points already, and should have came with tow points for a while, but they have them now, but they're high lift tow points. So how many guys with a Tacoma of this style, bone stock, will carry a high lift with them? Probably none. So then my question is, then you have to modify this thing, get a rack on it, carry a high lift with you for any of that stuff to kind of be useful. I would have liked to see some D-rings there or something that, you know, some shackle points or something more multi-purpose, because you can still stick a high lift on a shackle. And you'll notice it's tucked underneath this. So my question is, I have not used the high lift on this yet, but if you're going to stick the high lift in there, it's kind of going to lean forward. You're going to get really close to your your tailgate here, and you run the risk of, you know, as you're jacking that thing up, you know, if you're not on solid ground, maybe that thing hits here, maybe it scratches here. So it really just depends. I'd like to see that in use, but conceptually I do like the idea. So something new for the model year, something to look forward to. Again, you've got your cameras back there. I like the dampening. I really like just when you're staring at the back of this, the fenders sit wider than the actual taillights. So I like that. I love this aggressive cut back here. I mean, the styling is great. The question is it that much better than a third gen? And for the price of these things, we'll see what they come out as from a price standpoint. But I would argue, you know, you can get some good deals on a third gen once these come out. And so it really comes down to, for me, powertrain. This is definitely going to be a better frame. And then the interior is nicer. But then if you're somebody who cares about the back seat room, maybe that's an issue. It seems smaller to me. But other than that, this is going to be a dominant vehicle, as it's always been in its segment for these small pickups. And so I don't see that changing based on this. If anything, it'll improve in a lot of ways. Pay special note to what I'm about to show you here. This is obviously a very advanced Tacoma. You've got the hybrid engine, you've got crazy numbers in horsepower and torque, you have Toyota Safety Sense, 360 cameras, just tons of options. But if you know Tacomas, there's nothing here to hold this hood. So yes, you still have to take your stick and hold your hood up. And I just think that's hilarious. How bad is it? How hard is it to add a couple shocks in here? I would have liked to see that. On a vehicle like this, you've got all these other options. I think a TRD Pro would be the next class up from this one. There's probably Platinums and different things. Maybe those will come with shocks. Maybe the actual production model will come with shocks, but right now it doesn't have shocks yet. And I just think that's funny. But the rest of it, pretty solid truck actually. All right, so that's a wrap for this one. Just a quick synopsis of everything. Yes, it looks like you still have a stick to hold the hood up. Kind of hilarious on a grade this high up. We're one under from basically a TRD Pro. Maybe the production models will not have that, and maybe they do have shocks. But on this one, still has a stick. I think the back row seats have less room for your legs. That may not be a deal breaker. It's more of a trade-off. You're getting the power if you're getting the hybrid. You're getting maybe a little bit less leg room, but it's still a functional rear seats. If you need to carry some people, you can do it. I don't find these vehicles as like a very important vehicle for carrying people. It's going to be the two people in the front seat. If they're comfortable, then that's good. I really like this bed. It's dampened on the way down. It puts itself up on the way up. That's cool. I really do like the aggressive styling of what they're going for here. I love all the new functionality, you know, 360 cameras. They still got the Toyota Safety Sense, bed cameras. The rear window still goes down. There's a lot to look forward to still here, but I don't know if it's worth the price over the 3rd gen when you can get a pretty spec'd up 3rd gen. And I don't know what the final price on these once they hit dealerships are going to be. We're still seeing a lot of markups and stuff. So if I were you, I would say if you're somebody who needs the power, go for it, because you can't go wrong. Obviously with the Toyota, it's still going to be the leader in the segment. But if you're somebody who has a 3rd gen, especially of the recent model years, I don't know if it's worth the upgrade yet. Maybe wait till the next year, see what else they come out with. But a 3rd gen Tacoma is still a great vehicle. So that's a wrap for this. Thank you so much for watching.